So you want to play a comp where you can just turn off your brain and gain free LP. Well, you came to the right place because Exterior will teach you how to play Senna Reroll in patch 14.13. In this video, we will cover the strongest items, strongest units, and strongest augments. With that, we start off with our items, and our DPS unit will be Senna, and her best in slot item is to have a Last Whisper. This item allows her to break armor, so her auto attacks to do extra damage towards tanks, and then you need an amplification item, which is Affinity Edge, and then the strongest Ink Shadow item you can get on her would be Tattoo of Bombardment. This item gives her a lot of damage, attack speed, and the active is actually really useful because for every third auto attack, she shoots like a extra missile that hits other units around her. And the best alternative items you could build is if you cannot build an IE, a Giant Slayer is pretty okay because this item allows you to kill tanks quicker since the more HP the unit has, the more damage she would do. And then Deathblade is also not too bad because it gives you just pure damage. And if you cannot get a Tattoo Bombardment, Tattoo of Fury is pretty good too. This item allows you to gain extra attack speed if you kill a unit. And if you can't get any of the tattoo items, then the other alternative items are fine too, but it's kind of mandatory to build a Last Whisper. And for Ornn artifact items, the best one you can have on Senna would be Collector. This item is very powerful on her because for one, it gives her crit, and two, whenever a unit is around like 10% HP, she would just execute them right on the spot, and you get a chance to get gold on that execution. So this item is actually really powerful for almost every long range AD unit. And speaking of long range AD units, Sniper Focus is not too bad to have. This item allows you to get extra range, and the further the range that you're attacking from, the more damage you do, and you can never go wrong with Affinity Force on almost any AD unit. The best main tank you could have on this comp would be Shen because he's also 2-cost unit with Senna, so this means you can 3-star both of them. And then his best in slot items to have a Gargoyle Stoneplate, says most of the time he'll be the last tank standing. Having a Gargoyle Stoneplate would help a lot with the extra resistances he can get, and then since he's going to be the main tank, you're going to need some sort of healing item, so having Redemption is not too bad because he can stall out the fight a little bit longer. And then if your Ink Shadow has Tattoo Protection, it would be the best on Shen because this item allows you to stall the fight even longer. And then his best alternative item is to have like a Declaw. This item will allow him to get extra magic resist and gives him some extra health regen and plus some extra health. This item overall is just really good. If you can't get tattoo protection, this item is not bad to have on him. If you cannot build a redemption, Warmongs is okay. And then Steadfast Heart, it's just a pretty decent armor item overall if you want to get resistances against 80 units. And the best Ornn artifact you have on Shen would be having an Eternal Winter. This item stalls out the fight long enough for Senna to kill everything because it stuns everything. And then Anima Visage is very good because it gives you a lot of magic resist and a lot of health regen. And Celestial Crest is not too bad because it gives shield and armor magic resist if Shen dies. And then for utility items, because you always need them on every board, having Morgana with any anti-heal items such as Merlocana Red Buff is very good for her because she's an AoE unit, so she hits everyone on the board with attack speed slow and an anti-heal. And speaking of anti-heal, Tattoo of Toxin is also a pretty good choice too if you want to put it on Morgana, if this is your Ink Shadow item. And a Static Shiv, because you need magic resist shred for this board, since this board is mostly magic damage, having this item would reduce magic resist and your ghostly would do extra damage. But if you can't get a static shiv, you can put an Onyx Spark on any tank you have on your board. And then for emblems, having a ghostly spat on either Jax or Udyr is actually best on. You don't want to put it on Senna because this item doesn't really do anything for her. So just put it on the other units that are not ghostly. That's not Senna. And then for the other Ink Shadow items, just throw it on any tank because they're both tank items. And the best support item you can have on this board is having Aegis, Moonstone, Radiant Virtue, Locket, and ZZ Rot, mainly because they all stall the board for Senna to kill everything. But the other support items are fine too, it's just these ones are the main ones that you want to find. And for the units you want to play for early game, like level 4 would be having a Senna and a Caitlyn, because you get snipers on the board. If you can't find Senna early, Kog'Maw is fine, but ideally you kind of want Senna with Last Whisper, and then Shen, ideally, or Aatrox. So you can throw like an Aatrox plus 1 Bruiser, or Shen plus 1 Behemoth. It's just as long as you have a ghostly start, so you can actually kill stuff with the ghostly synergy. And then for item slam, if you cannot build Last Whisper, then having IE is fine, just throw it on your carry unit. And then if not, if you have ghostly on the board, then having Ionic Spark or Static Shiv is very powerful start as well with ghostly, since ghostly is magic damage. These two items would give magic resist, shred, so you can kill everything quicker. And if you just want a win streak, most of these tank items are actually really good, like having a Crown Guard, Sunfire, Warmongs, and Steadfast Heart, just to win streak early. Like, these items are actually really strong to start with. And then, to keep in mind before you make this mistake, don't put the Static Shiv on Senna. This item is not good on her. Just put it on Caitlyn or, like, other units that you can find. And then when you hit level 5, just throw in a +1 tank, like, for example, like a level 2 Jax, or you throw in Aatrox or an Alawi. It's just whatever you can find. And then when you hit level 6, this is when you play the real game and you want to position the snipers in the corners. So you have like all the front line, which is Shen, Aatrox, Alawi, and Jax. And your main carry is Senna with Caitlyn. And then when you have Jax, Aatrox, and Senna in, you get Ink Shadow, so therefore you can Ink Shadow at them. If it's Bombardment or Fury, just throw it on Senna. If it's the tank ones, then just throw it on whoever. Also, another thing to note with this mechanic is if you get Tech 2 of Toxin, you can throw it on Senna to start with, and then you take out Ink Shadow and put them back in, the item will come out, and you just throw it on Morgana later. But yeah, ideally you kind of want a magic resist shred item or tank item, and then Senna with like Last Whisper IE with like hopefully you can get the Ink Shadow item for Senna. And then if you want a 3-star stuff or have to 3-star Senna, you can also 3-star Shen with Aatrox as well because they're also 2-cost units. And then on top of that, you can try to 3-star Jax or Alawi or even Caitlyn. I wouldn't really recommend doing it because you're not gonna have inventory space, but if you do get them an off chance, it's fine to have. No need to force though. Just force Senna 3 with Shen 3. And then after you get your Senna 3, then you go to level 7 and then just throw it on Morgana with like anti-heal, such as Merlacon, Toxin, or like Red Buff. And then you have like full tank items on Shen with full damage items on Senna by then when you hit level 7. And then when you hit level 8, just throw in a +1 Ghostly, such as Kayn. And then when you hit level 9, just take out the Jax and throw it in Udyr, and +1 legendary unit such as Wukong, or even Rakan, or if you want extra CC, you could throw in a level 2 Nautilus as well, because he's also Warden with Alawi. It doesn't hurt to have, and that's basically about it. Now for the augments, the best one you can take is Haunted House. This augment gives you more stacks on your Ghostly, therefore you're doing more damage. And speaking of Ghostly, Ghostly Crest isn't too bad to have because you get a spat for Ghostly. You can just throw it on the extra units that I explained earlier. And then 2 healthy is actually pretty good for this board since you have like 3 2-cost units, so you get extra HP for your whole board. And this is your 3-starring a lot of stuff. Heavy hitters is very good for that because the more HP you have, the more damage you do. And if you 3-star stuff, you gain more HP. And then attack speed augments such as pumping up, fair to weights, you have my bow, best friend, tiny but deadly is very good for this board because the faster Ghostly hits, the faster you stack, therefore you do extra damage with Ghostly. And that's it for my Senna Reroll comp guide. If you have any questions, just let me know down in the comment section below. And I know I've been uploading really slowly lately, that's just due to because I'm kind of done with set 12 already and I just want to play set 13. So I've been mostly just playing other games on the side, but I'll try to upload more as much as I can. But until then, I'll see you guys later.